Today we will analyze the plot of the killer comedy 2013 year, We Are the Millers. David Clark is watching YouTube videos at home when he is asked to sell a powerful joint. First, a man sells weed to a mother with a small child, then to an office clerk, and then to a chef. Ricky notices David on the street, with whom they went to college together, and he, of course, treats him to weed. Ricky is jealous of the fact that the dealer has no wife, no children, and by and large there is nothing at all. If David disappears into thin air tomorrow, no one will even notice. Although for some reason these words do not please David at all. Rose is a stripper in a nightclub. The girl can't stand her job, just like David, with whom they live in the same house next door. Kenny asks David to sell him a joint, but the dealer refuses, since he does not sell dope to children, although the neighbor has already turned 18. Kenny notices that the gangsters want to take the phone from the tramp Casey and tries to protect her, but immediately gets slapped in the face for his courage. David tries to help, and the simple-minded Kenny declares that his neighbor is very cool, since he is a dealer. The hooligans immediately take out knives and demand that the man give up all his stocks of weed. David tries to escape from the gangsters by the fire escape, and then jumps into an urn with garbage, but the man's backpack accidentally closes the urn and he hits her back hard. Hooligans take all the stocks of dope from the man's apartment, as well as several $1,000s in cash. David does not answer the supplier's calls, but soon two scumbags grab him and push him into a black Jeep. The dealer is brought to the supplier Brad, who threatens to kill the man if he does not give him $43,000 for the goods. Brad offers David a deal. The dealer will bring a little grass for him from Mexico, and in return he will forgive his debt and pay $100,000 on top. David wants to refuse, because if he is caught at the border, he will be jailed for 25 years. However, the supplier responds that he has no choice. David doesn't know what to do until he notices the Flanders family on the road in a big house on wheels, to whom the police officers who have appeared are very friendly. It dawns on David that he urgently needs a family and a mobile home. The dealer offers Kenny to go to Mexico with him for $10,000, but the stripper considers it too dangerous and refuses. Kenny agrees to the trip without any problems and advises to invite Casey with him, which turns out to be enough for $1,000. Kenny hugs his new sister warmly. The boss tells Rose that now strippers have to sleep with clients, which is why the girl immediately quits and receives eviction notices from the apartment on the same day, since she does not have money to pay rent. At the barbershop, David gives Kenny and Casey some money to buy themselves decent clothes for the road. The barber asks David how to cut his hair. The dealer answers something similar to what I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm going to a shitty job for an hour and a half, where I have to lick the boss's ass all day to keep screaming children and an eternally dissatisfied wife on a meager salary, so that one day I finally put a shotgun in my mouth. The next man in line declares that in this case David needs a hairstyle like his. At the airport, David is easily allowed on the flight, as well as Casey, and Kenny is sent for a full inspection of clothes and luggage because of his moronic expression. Rose suddenly appears on the plane, who agrees to go to Mexico for $30,000. Upon arrival, the guys are waiting for a big house on wheels. They get inside and head to the border with Mexico. On the way, Kenny asks David to stop and buy fireworks for Independence Day, but the man shouts that they are not a real family and there is no need to fantasize about anything. At the border, the customs officer passes their hefty trailer without any problems. Soon the Miller family gets to the bandits' hideout, where they see dozens of armed thugs. The one-eyed boss threatens David until he says that he came for the goods from Pablock Khan. The big guy breaks into a smile and agrees to give the grass, but it turns out to be a little more than a little, about 2 cubic meters. The big guy's mom gives the guys a basket of fruit, and Kenny is afraid to refuse such a gift after looking at the gangster's stern face. That's just the guys don't realize that a spider crawled into the basket. Having clogged the car with goods to the point of failure, the family goes on their way back and immediately runs into a Mexican cop who demands $1,000 from them for travel. David doesn't have enough money, so he asks Rose to please the policeman. The girl refuses, and the cop says that he likes men more. Then David persuades Kenny to satisfy the cop, explaining that this way he will save Rose and Casey from prison. Kenny is ready to agree when the policeman asks if the guys will finally please him or give him 1,000 pesos. Realizing that the cop meant the play, not dollars, David smiles and immediately pays him off. Not far from the border with Mexico, Miller is warmly welcomed by the Fitzgerald family, who really want to chat with the guys. Kenny immediately draws attention to their pretty daughter Melissa. David sees that the customs officers have tied up some guy for a small joint and, out of surprise, abruptly presses on the brake. The package with the goods falls into Rose's lap and she immediately wraps it in a blanket so as not to light up. The Fitzgeralds are eager to see the baby appear in Rose's arms. The customs officer tells the Millers to drive up to the post, and then asks David if there is anything forbidden in the car. The driver can't say a word, and the dog starts barking, so the officer sends the Millers' car for a full inspection. The family is preparing for a catastrophe when suddenly several illegal immigrants jump out from under their car and try to escape, and customs officers rush after them in pursuit. The Millers exhale with relief and sing with happiness. At this time, the real Pablock Windows finds out that some family stole his goods, and together with the big guy they give chase. The Millers' car breaks down due to severe congestion with weed. Fortunately, the Fitzgeralds agree to help the guys and pull them on a cable to the nearest car service station. Edith really wants to know how the Millers met. David tells how he first saw Rose, surprising the neighbor, how accurately he remembered all the details of their first meeting. David accidentally notices a police badge and a gun in the glove compartment, and Don admits that he works for the Drug Enforcement Administration, but he was temporarily suspended from service. The Millers understand that they need to say goodbye to the Fitzgeralds as soon as possible. However, the car service is closed, so they still have to spend the night together. Edith insistently asks Rose to show the baby, and then she has to throw it on the road, after which 2 trucks pass right through the bundle. Edith becomes hysterical, but Casey saves the day by saying that it was her school project during the summer holidays. In the evening, 2 families sit around the campfire and sing songs. Then everyone takes turns drawing something, and the others have to guess what it is. Kenny draws a great skate, but for some reason everyone answers incorrectly. After the game, Kenny and Melissa talk warmly in private. The girl reaches for a kiss, but the guy is nervous and hugs her in a friendly way. After the incident, David gives Kenny a man's advice, and Casey in the trailer teaches to take kissing. At this moment, David and Rose come in and the stripper teaches the guy a very sweet and hot kiss. Suddenly Melissa appears, who can't believe her eyes. In the morning, Don drives the Millers to the car service, after which the Fitzgeralds leave. Brad calls David, who is looking for a mechanic at this moment. Pablo appears next, and Brad hangs up in fright. It turns out that the bandits quickly found the guys, since a transmitter was hidden in the product. The Millers beg to be spared and claim that they are not a real family, and Rose is a stripper in general. The girl agrees to dance a striptease for scumbags, distracts the heated Pablo and releases a jet of hot steam into his face, and David beats the big guy with a big key. One Eye immediately gets up, but Kenny finishes him off with a trailer. The Millers jump into their mobile home, tear apart the bandits' wheelbarrow and try to hide under a hail of bullets. David tries to take the steering wheel from the inexperienced Kenny. The spider flies out of the basket and crawls over Kenny's leg. The car crashes off the road, but, fortunately, everyone remains alive and well, except for Kenny, since a hefty spider bit him right on the balls, which increased in size several times. The kid faints, and the guys have to take him to the hospital, much to David's displeasure. At the hospital, David calls Brad, who is surprised that the dealer is still alive. David threatens to return the goods to Pablo and hand over Brad, who framed him so harshly. The supplier agrees to pay $500,000 if David delivers the goods to him by tonight. That's just the doctor says that he will release Kenny only in a few hours, so the guys have to stay late. Casey pays attention to the fashionable and very stupid guy Scotty, gets interested in him and agrees to ride his cool motorcycle. Rose and David finally have a heart-to-heart conversation, and the girl admits that her real name is Sarah. The two almost kiss, but at that moment returns to Casey. Adults say they were very worried about a girl who feels that at least someone cares about her. Kenny is finally released from the hospital, and David is in a hurry, drops the guy several times on the way to the trailer and accidentally lets slip that $500,000 is at stake. Rose is shocked, as the man pays her only $30,000. Casey is also perplexed, since her share is only $1,000. But Kenny is the most surprised of all. Does he pay you at all? Casey is indignant and leaves. Rose and Kenny refuse to go without her. David just shrugs and rides alone. However, soon the man begins to miss his fake family. Casey meets Scotty and regretfully tells him about what happened. Guys are not interested in this, he just wants to have fun with a beauty. Rose, who appeared, tells Scotty not to let go of his hands, and then sends the impudent man to the ground with a powerful blow. David arrives next, who offers to divide $500,000 equally into 4, and after the man's apology, the others agree to continue on their way. The guys run into the Fitzgeralds, and Melissa still can't get over what she saw last night. Simple-minded Kenny lays out that they are not a real family that smuggles a large batch of dope from Mexico. David tries to justify himself for his negligent son, when a big man with a barrel comes up from behind. Fortunately, Don appears from the trailer, who brutally beats up One Eye with his big mug. Melissa is about to call the cops, but Pablo takes her hostage. David gives the gangster the keys to the trailer with the goods. Nevertheless, Pablo is going to shoot all the impudents who have encroached on his property. Fireworks distract the bandit, David runs into him, Rose accidentally shoots Pablo with his own gun, and Kenny finishes off the scumbag. Now the guy feels much more confident and kisses Melissa hard. David and Rose kiss next. Don arrests Pablo and allows the Millers to escape. The next day, David delivers all the goods to Brad, but he refuses to pay. Suddenly, a takeover team appears, which arrests the gangster and all his henchmen. David does not receive a penny, but retains his freedom thanks to cooperation with the investigation. In addition, the whole family falls under the witness protection program. The guys get acquainted with their new neighbors and introduce ourselves as Millers. Meanwhile, another crop of cheerful grass is growing in their garden. How do you like the movie We Are the Millers? Share it in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you soon.